What is the roadmap for the Blazers upset? How can they pull it off?
If I'm going to give the Warriors a roadmap, here it is. Because I don't think that you look at the last series. It's not the Houston. You can't be the Houston Rockets. Okay, that's already set in stone. You don't have the personnel. But a team you can look at is who? The Los Angeles Clippers. What is the key for success here? Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum have to flirt with 30 points a game. They have to average somewhere about 30 points a game, and not just scoring-wise, because I'm not talking about bulk shots, an efficient 30 points per game, and also a play-making 30 points per game where they're sharing the basketball, moving it around the horn. Secondly, they need to attack Steph Curry. But the one thing, when you attack Steph Curry, you have to do it within your offense. So you have to find organic ways in which you can put him in screens, in pick and rolls, in post-up scenarios, and you attack him downhill. What does that do? Against all great players, sometimes your best defense is your offense. You make them work on the defensive end of the floor. Thirdly, you have to win the 50-50 battle. What do I mean? Rebounds, steals, loose balls. For those who don't know what a 50-50 ball is, that means I have an equal chance of going after the basketball, and I've got to end up with the basketball. You have to get more possessions than the Golden State Warriors. If they end up shooting 10 to 20 to 30 more shots than you do because you don't take care of the basketball, you turn it over, or you don't get loose balls, you don't have a shot against the Warriors.
So when you say attack Steph Curry organically, what exactly do you mean?
So a lot of teams fall in trouble with this because Steph Curry is arguably going to be guarding the worst player on the floor. I don't want to say the worst, but the best matchup for him, okay? So maybe
he's got to guard CJ or Dame. He has to guard CJ or Dame, so he will not be guarding the worst player floor in this.
There are moments where they might put him on Harkless and say, well, you know what, Mo Harkless, are you going to beat us? And then if you're Terry Stotts, you go, man, we're going to post up Mo Harkless. We're going to post up Mo Harkless. And now you end up in trouble because that's not your natural offense. That's not your natural flow of things. So maybe Mo Harkless is the screen setter, then he dives. Maybe Mo Harkless, does a number of different things if Curry's guarding him, or Minu, or any of these other guys. But you are going to see Steph Curry try to be hidden. You want to keep him out of sight, out of mind. And another thing, if he is guarding a Damian Lillard, the one thing that they actually do, Steph Curry, instead of switching the screen, which, a lot of the NBA is switching now, even if it's like size on a Dame or a CJ, he's going to show, and then he's going to recover to his own man, and they're going to say, you know what, we're going to give you an open shot. Let's see if you can knock it down.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Harkless because I feel like the role players, in any series, role players always play a big role, but especially on the road. Everyone says role players aren't as good on the road. What players need to step up for the Blazers in Game 1 and Game 2 on the road to steal one of those two home games for the Warriors?
Well, it's Harkless, Aminu, and Hollins. Why do I say that? They're most equipped to guard against Golden State, but more importantly, they have to be efficient on the offensive end. And no, they don't have to be anyone that they aren't. But the one thing that they have to do, they have to knock down open threes. They have to rebound. They have to be incredibly physical at a high clip. And then they've got to get out in transition. And now, when you're looking at plays, if you do get a Curry on you, you've got to score, get fouled, or make the correct play out of a double team. Because Golden State, while they're going to show a lot of lineups where they're incredibly small, they have high IQ. And if they bait you into a bad situation, you could turn the ball over.
Well, let's take a look at what happened between these two teams during the regular season. They played 4 times. They split it right down the middle. Seems pretty equal on all fronts, with the Blazers shooting a little bit worse from the floor. And then let's just take a look at the actual matchups, what we expect to be the starting lineups and how they match up. Is there any place here where you see advantages for the Blazers?
Well, the front line. Those guys can rebound the basketball. Hollins he's all of at least 6'10 or 6'11. He's a little slighter frame, but if he can make some things happen on the boards, he can be very effective. He's long, he's rangy, he's athletic. He can do a lot of little things. I don't necessarily, give him an advantage, but if he gets Iguodala on him, he could have a 5 or 6 inch height advantage there. So when he sets screens and he slips, he's got to be effective. And we kind of got on Clint Capella in the last series and said, where was Clint Capella? They switched, they ran pick and rolls, and he really didn't get anything going. So maybe Collins, with his skill set and his kind of high basketball IQ, can be a difference.
You're forgetting my guy, though. Enes Kanter, who will end up starting for the Blazers. Kanter, who just seems like just yesterday was on the bench for the Knicks, not getting any burn, and now here he is in the Western Conference Finals, starting, getting serious minutes. People might try to pick him apart on defense, but I think him against Looney, whether not really post-ups, but offensive rebounds and pick and rolls, I feel like Kanter could play a big role in them stealing a game at Oracle. What do you think?
His plus or minus is going to be off the charts. It's going to have to be, or he can't be on the floor. Because for every bucket that he scores, he gives up 3. He gives up 2. And I think back to a player for Cleveland that was really, really good, but he just didn't fit against Golden State. But you know what? He found a way to be effective. Who am I talking about? Kevin Love.
Tristan Thompson. Oh, Kevin Love.
No. Kevin Love. Because Kevin Love is a starter. He's a guy who had to play big minutes for the team to be successful. And there are possessions where Kevin Love switched out on a Curry or Durant, or excuse me, not Durant at the time. He wasn't on the team, but he switched out on a Curry, and he got some big stops on Steph Curry, and he had to slide his feet and move and be a basketball player. And then on the offensive end, he was incredibly efficient. So Kanter is going to have to score like a maniac if he's going to be on the floor.